Hey folks, at Precon World, we're here at the headquarters of Beck Technology. I have bumped into Michael Ho, the CEO of Bespoke Metrics. Now there's a huge announcement and integration with Beck Tech, and we're going to hear more about that from Michael in a little bit. Hello Michael.
Hey Gareth.
So Michael, for those that do not know anything about Bespoke Metrics, give us an elevator pitch.
Our elevator pitch, we're about 5 years old. I was in finance for my only career. I decided I would do my own thing. I started a company and effectively wanted to move into the pre-construction space. My background was in financial credit assessment. So what could you do with financial credit assessment? I could rate movies, I could rate food. I decided, why don't I rate companies? So we started rating companies in the construction supply chain. So really our pre-qualification was really focused at looking at GC's pre-qualification on the subcontractors and suppliers.
Brilliant. So I would imagine for a subcontractor, one of the biggest pains is filling out pre-qualification forms for 70, 80 GCs within the market.
Yeah.
I would say that is hours, and if not like multiple people within the subcontractor.
You're bang on. You're bang on. So actually the first people we met with when I was curating the problem in the marketplace, the people we met with first were the subcontractors. And the subcontractors complained about pre-qualification in general. They hated doing it. They hated the repetition. They hated giving up private financials. They hated the amount of both frequency, volume, and the fact that everyone was doing it completely siloed. There was no coordination, there was no industry standard, and worst, there's no feedback.
Yeah.
So they were doing all these things and they had no idea what was happening with all of their effort to produce these things. They just knew it was a check mark, had to be done. So one of our first things that we wanted to do was really try and address the problems with subcontractors, meaning that let's build one form.
Yeah.
And that's what we call it, is one form. We're not great at naming stuff, Gareth.
Yeah.
But it's called one form.
Brilliant.
So this one form we thought would be easy. The whole market would adopt this one form. It was actually the hardest thing to convince people that your questions aren't special, man. Like they're kind of the same as everyone else is doing. Might be a different order, might be some different words, but for the most part, everyone's asking the same stuff over and over and over again. Even if you have some special questions, it's just not worth the hassle, nor is it in the appropriateness for the trades.
So excuse my ignorance on this, and again, so the subcontractor gets a job with a GC, right? They fill out a form. Is that one form that does the year, does the entirety of the life cycle, or the life of their relationship, or is it per project?
It's currently for the year.
Okay.
And that's because that's how the data is available.
Okay.
So I think that the frequency and the timeliness of data is a big issue in the marketplace as well. Yeah. That we're looking at things quite historically. Mm-hmm. But those are things that I think we have to address going forward. Yeah. I think the frequency and timeliness of data is very problematic.
Right. So Bespoke Metrics basically have one form for all 70, 80 GCs that subcontractor work with?
That's right.
And that's it, once a year?
That's right. Once a year, then you're done. And it's really split up into two main pieces. The finance component, which is, as you can say, balance sheet, income statement, WIP. And then you have what I call compliance, which makes up business qualitative metrics, health and safety, some DPE requirements, ESG requirements, anything else you can think of that would pair with finance. And the reason you do it that way is the pre-qualification, you're asking trades for a multitude of different pieces of information. Why not try and do it at one time? Yeah. Instead of saying, at this point in time, we're going to do this renewal or that renewal or this renewal. Just do it all at once, be done with it, and now you can actually bid, estimate, do all the things in the pre-construction space that is, I think, more important. That risk management should be done beforehand, get it off the sheet, and then go on to talking about your ability, your availability, and your pricing.
And get on to the pre-construction, which is the most important part of any project.
That's right.
Unbelievable. I can imagine that the time on the GC side and the subcontractor side is invaluable. Let's talk now integrations. I heard there was a big announcement at Groundbreak. He was giving it loads on stage.
There was a big announcement at Groundbreak. The Procore guys, and they didn't tell me that it was actually going to happen.
Was that right?
And and Procore is a great company. We wanted to work with them. We think that they have a massive amount of growth potential, and the way that they run the company and all my dealings with them thus far has been phenomenal. So in their keynote speaking at their main user conference for the year, they announced our partnership. Brilliant. And our partnership is effectively embedding us like a real, I call it a material integration. That I think that in our construction space right now, in technology, there's a lot of cosmetic type integrations. And I'm really trying to pare that down. So when we partner with people like Beck Technologies and Procore, I want those relationships to be extremely material. That the integrations, not only are they a partnership from a business strategy, but it makes sense from a technology to talk. It makes sense for the end user, and the things that we are producing together, both currently and roadmap, both futures, are aligned for the betterment of the actual products.
Absolutely. Well, if it's easier, the data flow goes through. It's seamless, and that's what you want. You want to seem as if it's seamless, and they don't have to do anything. Unbelievable. So you've now got Beck Tech, you've now got Procore and integrations. What's the growth like within the US market? Because you're a Canadian company, you're doing incredible things in Canada. Talk to us about the US market.
It's tremendous. I think a lot of people that have never done business in the US, I think they're always shocked and in awe of simply the size and magnitude. It's easily 30 to 50 times larger than our little home Canadian marketplace. Canada has some very big professional GCs, probably much larger in fact, and that's just because of the way that we do procurement in the Canadian marketplace and the types of infrastructure projects that we have. The US is very spread out. Yet you have giant projects, giant cities, and more sports stadiums than I can count. So, from that perspective, we're very squarely focused at growth in the US marketplace. Brilliant. So we're approaching about 100 GC clients, over 30,000 trades already, and we think that we can have exponential growth over the next few years.
And that's all in 6 years?
That's all in 6 years.
It's hectic. What do you do? When do you find time to sleep?
I sleep in like little segments. It's like a Seinfeld episode where Kramer slept in little segments. I think I figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
But I think I cry less now.
Yeah.
So the first 5 years there's a lot of crying. So my pillow was wet, Gareth. But now it's like I feel like I sleep a little bit better. Yeah. It feels like the strategy's in the right place. Our growth numbers are hitting, and we have great partners. Brilliant. And I think that in this industry, you can't be all things to all people. Yeah. And I think once you realize that from a technology perspective, it's who are your dance partners? Yeah. And do you dance well together? And I think that's really important. And the last thing I'll say about those integration partners is you want to have fun.
Yeah.
Like business should be fun. I like business. Yeah. Business is really fun. Having dance partners and partners of integration that you get along, not only are you intelligent together and they push you forward and your tech and your products work well together, but you genuinely like working with each other. I think that's almost one of the key decision factors in choosing your partners in this marketplace.
Makes business easy, doesn't
it?
Yeah. You've come a long way, Michael, from hustling people in the pool table at college.
Where'd you hear this information?
We get all the dirt, trust me.
Sounds like it.
Listen,
don't believe everything Gareth says.
Listen, this has been brilliant. I have to say thank you. Thank you for coming on, Michael. Listen, if anybody's got any follow-up questions, there's always questions that you come. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put Michael's LinkedIn profile in the show notes. So please feel free to connect with him, drop him a message. If you've got any questions, he's always available. Thank you, Michael.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Gareth. Cheers.